Today is the day. We're gonna finish our Custodes. I actually uploaded his base just a couple hours. Well, not hours. It was yesterday, but I think everybody likes the base that we're gonna use for him. But we finished our guy. We're going to do the blade. That's gonna finish it out. But everything else turned out great. I'm pretty excited to put this guy in a base and see what he looks like all finished. So let's get started. Turn off the autofocus. Before we get going, let's just take one look at this guy. So we've gone from all black to fully painted. And this is stream number 11. So this is 11 hours total. Fun all the way around. Pretty exciting. So today we're doing just this part right here, and that will finish it out. But it's like the most fun thing for last, or at least one of the most important things, because this is gonna sort of define the character of this guy. So we went with purple as the design choice. So we're gonna go with a power spear, starting with a dark purple base, a light mid-tone, and then a extreme highlight. And we're gonna make it have lightning bolts, and as a special accoutrement to this guy, we're gonna use some wire, and we're gonna make him have a bolt lightning effect. And I'll show you how to do that. It's pretty fun, and it's also pretty easy. But let's get started. So first things first, palette cam. Let's zoom out here. In my sweatpants. That's funny. All right. So we're gonna start by doing actually a mix of the Diabolic Plum with a little bit of black, because we want it to be just a little bit darker than this plum that we've got going on here, but not too much. It's not gonna be a crazy transition. I just want it to be slightly darker than that. In fact, that might even be perfect. Just that little dot black. We kind of show you how much I put in there. Not much at all. We'll see how that goes. Our brush ready. Using our trusty 0 that we've been using almost exclusively this whole time. There we go. That darkened it up just right. Just a little more grimdark, because that regular plum was a little too joyful, a little too happy. This guy's he's not an angry guy, but he's definitely a serious guy. We're 100. We're all serious here, and it's got to go over a white base, so a little bit darker. So let's get started. Focus up. So we're actually going to do the whole thing in this purple, because we're going to do kind of a layer effect. If anyone's ever seen Duncan's power sword demonstration, or even his Custodes power weapon demonstration, this is going to be you're going to be very similar here. So we need thin enough coats not to one over saturate or make a weird texture, but also because we want to put enough on here to cover the white, and that's going to require 2 thin coats. Something I ought to learn. I should take like an improv class or something, because I pause a lot during my painting sessions, but maybe that's just because I'm focusing. Not sure. But so far, nobody seems to mind. Okay, so that's gonna be a pretty dark plum, and I actually like that the white that's on the edges of the power generator, which is the Aquila, giving it a nice little effect here. So we'll wait for that to dry. We'll do the other side. This is the base tone of the sword, or of the spear. Gonna have to hold it upside down like this. His head is actually resting on the craft paper, but it is giving me more stability, so thank you, top of the head. I just hope it doesn't take any paint off. It shouldn't. Holding pretty gently. We're not pressing it against the board or anything like that. There we go. I don't know if you can see, but we're doing our best. The bottom, don't be so... Don't get too concerned about the bottom here, because this is not going to show very well. It's because of the angle of this guy, the bottom is pretty invisible. You'd have to pick him up to see it. Okay. Okay. First coat done. Already giving a little bit of personality, a little bit of specialness to this guy. Get this under area here, because that will show. But you might not need any more than just this one coat for the underside. Being careful not to get purple on other stuff. There's one more coat on the top here. Keeping it nice and thin, as our mentor Duncan likes to say. There we go. Because you can definitely see the white coming through, and you don't want that as much as you possibly can. The effect that we're going to go for kind of demands some solid color. And don't worry too much about the gold, because if you do get a little bit of this purple on the gold is pretty easy to fix. Remember, that was just a mix of the Retributor armor and a green dark wash, the Grim Dark Shadow. Okay. This guy's pretty excited. I'm pretty excited about this, because I think this is gonna really tie. It's like the having a nice rug. It's gonna tie the whole room together. It's gonna make this thing look great. And I'm glad that we went with purple instead of blue. I was thinking about the blue, but that's too standard. It would have to be like a super dark blue, but I wanted the lightning bolts. So I didn't think that that was going to be bright enough or a vibrant enough color for lightning bolts, but it probably would have. We would have been fine, but I think purple is better suited for this guy because it's still technically a blue purple. That is, it's a blue red. That makes sense for all us color theorists out there. It's actually magenta. It's a magenta. It's a plum flavor. So we say leave my house. We don't want any art critics in here because we're not doing art. We're painting miniatures. Shouldn't say that. This is a good. This is a pretty fun art. I think it's art. Needed a slightly another thin coat, just because I can still see that white coming through. And if I can, I'd like that to be a little less stark, especially on the top here. Okay. But this should be the last one. I think so, because it's gonna, because we're the thing that we're gonna do next is go over some of the area with the white anyway, with another color, so it's gonna get another layer of something else. So the white should not come through from that. Okay. So letting that dry a little bit. Oh, that already looks so good. Even just being purple like that, I think that's gonna be just the right color for this. Got a little bit of style, got a little bit of difference in there. Okay. So next, you'll see the Custody Spear has like a double layer effect. So it's got the cutting edge and then it's got this top portion. I want to keep the underside dark, and we're actually going to accomplish that by putting a very thinned down, very thin down speed paint over it to go in the recesses after we do our first highlight, and then we're going to reestablish. But I'll show you all that in due course, in due time. So we're going to do our next thing, which is the Spellbound Fuchsia. I love the word fuchsia. Sounds so elegant, or I don't know, like very aesthetic. Yeah. So we're gonna use the same size brush. No reason to change yet. The thing with this is to be sure that you are being careful, because it's pretty easy to fix, but the layers that you'll have, it'll just take a whole lot of time. You can fix it, but it's going to take a whole lot of time. So what we're going to do first is we're going to do the outside of the blade here. Don't worry about the edge or anything like that. We're going to go pretty far down. We're going to go a little deeper. There we go. That's about where we want it. So being careful not to get into that recess area, because that's going to be real dark, is the idea. Go. Doing a good job. See, I'm kind of feathering. This is my way of being precise. Some people have steadier hands than me, but I have very shaky hands. Kind of surprised that I picked this as my hobby with how shaky my hands are. But Neither here nor there. Probably good for my brain. When you do things that are atypical and your brain has to learn how to do it, that's typically good for you if it's a motor function, because it trains you to do things or rewires your brain to do a little better. Helps with dementia and Alzheimer's patients. I'm not a medical doctor. I read that off of the bottom of a Snapple cap. Oh my god. Snapple reference. Does anybody know Snapple? Probably not. Woo. Okay. We're getting there. Making that coat nice and even. Keeping with the feathering. So you see what I'm going for here. Just the bottom part. And then now we're going to do this top area, but we're going to do the same method. We're not going into the middle. So to do that, I'm trying to think of what the best angle to approach it. Probably this way, so I can pull down. But everybody will be different, but this is how I think I'm going to achieve this, because I need to be careful not to let this get in. Then this is another one of those situations where you don't overload the brush. And what I mean with moisture, because the quote-unquote drier the paint is, the more control you'll have over it. If it's wet, it will flood and use surface tension to go everywhere. So be careful. Do this. See if I'm gonna be able to. Yes. Okay. Keeping middle area dark. Gotta be on camera. As best we can. I think we did it. Woo! I was holding my breath. Okay. I typically do that little feather technique that makes it look like fire, but I wanted to be fancier with this one, because that's, to be honest, that's like the cheater way, which I do think is a legitimate way, but it's a very very easy method, if I want to describe it as something. So see how light this is? It's going to get darkened up when we do that wash. And that's what we want. We want to have a bold undertone so that when we do the wash, it blends everything a little bit together. And then we get to do the extra extreme highlights, and those are going to look really, really good. So now we're going to do the last one, the Diviner Light. And this is going to be the edges plus just this little area right here at the top, and I'll show you what it is. So this one I am going to get a slightly smaller brush just because I don't trust myself. Again, you can still fix it. This is actually a method where it's easy to fix stuff, and you can see why. There's big blotches of color, so you can just repeat with that same color if you mess up. So it's a forgiving method. We'll go with a little bit smaller, 3/10, just because I'm nervous. And we're using the edge of the brush here. See? So we're gonna go along the edge of this, being careful not to, again, overload the area. See how bright this pink comes up against this? And pink is a red. That's why we chose the purple, is because these are technically reds. Go a little higher so that it's visible from looking at the top of the blade. So I'm going kind of like a diagonal angle here. And being cautious as much as we can, but remember you can clean up if you want to. Afterwards, don't be too concerned. So for example, like see, yeah, it's going up a little bit in that little area. I can fix that with the other pink, and it's gonna completely go away. So don't be too sad when you see that, because it's gonna happen to you. If it happened to me, it'll happen to you. Fix that now, just so that we can see what we're gonna end up with. And you do want to fix it before you do the wash, because once you do the wash, it's going to be a lot harder to fix things. You'll have to kind of start over. So this is how you fix it. You kind of lightly feather the area till it goes away, and then you're going to reapply the highlight. There we go. Much better. So we'll fix it again. We'll reapply the highlight because you did do a little bit of, not damage, but a little bit of get it on the edge a little bit. But we'll do the other edges first. We'll do the easy ones and then we'll do the really hard one last. I'm nervous. So it's the top here. Get it a good angle. We're using the angle of the brush just to get top edge. Jump over the dark area. Do not do the dark area. Actually, what am I talking about? You do the dark area. See? Gonna have to fix that. It's not a straight line. We want it to be a little straighter. This is where we get to be real scrutinous. Okay. So next thing, this is the most difficult. So this is the swoosh in the middle. So this is how I try to be precise. There we go. Not half bad. So that gives, we've given the initial language, I would call it language or something pretentious. This is the initial character of the blade that we're going for before we do the initial wash, which is gonna sort of blend these colors together. But let's fix our lines a little bit, just so that we can do the wash on something that we're happy with. Because it's going to be, like I said, harder to fix post-wash. So this is just a little too thick here. I'm trying to find the best angle. Do it from here. There we go. The more precise line, which is what I'm looking for. Yours can be different. You don't have to be as precise as mine if you don't want it to be. And there's one last little area. It's that little hook on the bottom. Okay. Wow, it's already been 30 minutes. I can't believe how long some certain things take as opposed to other things, but here we go. Here's the little hook. Here we go. Perfect. Okay, so let's take a look at kind of what the finished thing is. So we had the initial base coat of the darker plum, then the pink, and then the extreme light pink. Now, what we're gonna do to tie it all together is we're gonna do an extremely, extremely thinned down purple swarm, because this is very akin to the initial dark purple, which is what we want. And when I mean super thin down, I mean essentially like a glaze, not a full-blown contrast paint. Here we go. And this is also my first time doing this, so if I mess up, it's all of your faults. Let's really, really thin this. Not even sure what I'm looking for in terms of thinness. I'm probably going to go overly thin. But probably better than doing it another way. So let's see about this. And I'm going to show you what I'm thinking about. So I'm thinking about like this. Essentially almost not there. But I'm only using this to tie it together. I'm not trying to make it this color. So let's see if this works. Just to blend everything without blending, because I'm not good at blending. A little more. And we'll let that dry. See what it did, if anything, because it might be too little to do anything. Which is an okay thing to learn. We're learning, remember? Okay. Let that go a little bit. I think it's a little too light. I can see that it did do something. It might be difficult to see on camera, but it did do something. Especially on the inner line. Pretty difficult to see that, but we can reestablish that in a second. But I think I'm going to do another coat once this initial one dries of the wash again, just a little bit thicker, just to see what that does. How's that look compared to the rest of the scheme so far? And that's why I want it to be a little darker. It's almost a little too bright. I think it's the right color for this guy. Okay. A little bolder. Just a little. See what this does. There we go. I think that's a little better. Yeah. we're turning it more purple than pink, which is exactly what I'm thinking. A little more. This is not the pink blade of the Shadow Keepers, it's the dark purple demon slaying blade. There we go. Now that's a nice blended purple versus the pink that we had before. And it's really going to come out when we do the little lightning bolt effects on it. But we got to let everything dry before we move on to the next step, which is essentially just reestablishing these pink highlights. These extreme highlights. And then putting the little bolts on. And then we get to do the bottom. Actually, we'll do a little bit of the bottom while we're waiting. As you may, the brushes are funny. You think that you're on one side, and then you'll flip it over, and you'll realize that, oh, some of the bristles somehow made it to the other end without my knowledge. I have no idea how that happened. I'm resting the guy's head on the thing again for stability. Don't need to be quite as careful on the bottom. Still want it to look nice, but it's going to be very difficult to see the bottom. You don't need to be as precise with the number of coats, because remember, the bottom is darker. So you don't need to be as worried about like the vividness of it, because it's supposed to be a little more diluted, a little bit more shadowy. So it may even prove to be more effective if it's a little darker. There we go. Yeah, it's gonna be looks so good. I'm super excited for this. It's gonna look so good when it's all done. I'm telling you. And you won't believe me until you see it. Okay, so the top I think is getting pretty dry. I think that's officially all the way. So let's reestablish those highlights. Mostly because I'm excited about it. Bring back our smaller brush. Only thinning the paint enough not to be dry, but also not to be overloading the brush, remember? Surface tension is your friend slash enemy here. Don't want it to migrate into areas that you don't want. Go. Start with the top. Okay. No rush. Be precise here. And a lot of work. Let your brush do the work here. No one's gonna take it from you. Okay. Now the hardest part, the middle. This is the least talking stream because so nervous. Come on, shaky hands. I think we did it, folks. Folks, look at us. Painting like we know how. Do a little more edge here. There we go. I'll do the back corner, the little hook. Then we get to do some effects. It's the little lightning bolts, which I'm gonna get an even smaller brush. Because this is gonna require some more precise handling than I'm capable of doing with the big brush. But okay. 3 lightning bolts. I think we're looking pretty great. And we'll do some extreme highlights with white, but not yet. It's actually going to go in the lightning bolts. So, get our teeny tiny 10th brush. This has got a nice tip. And I'm going to try and use the same technique that I use for the white by attempting to keep the tip sharp, which is the key for this here. Let's do this. Dries out too fast. Maybe to load up a little more. See about this. Dang it. Didn't want it to be that thick. Okay, we'll try and fix it. That's that surface stitching that I was talking about. Because my brush is more than dry, the water is causing it to flatten. But we're still doing okay. I think that looks pretty good still. Despite my personal failings. There we go. I think we did perfectly respectable here. Keep going just a little bit. Push those just a teeny bit more with some of these here at the bottom. They're a little too translucent. But paint is also funny that once you put it down the first time, it tends to go where you had it. That surface tension. A lot easier to follow. Go. Boom. I think that that looks pretty good. And now we're gonna push it just a little bit more. With white. See, wherever a lightning bolt touches itself or another lightning bolt, that point is extra bright. So we get to make it look kind of sparkly by doing that. Get our trusty white ink. Now remember, this is gonna make dots, so we don't need anything other than a super sharp pointer like this. Dry, you gotta be quick. So for example, right there. We're just doing singular dots to give that arc illusion. Best we can. Not being overzealous. But there we go. Really ties it together. One more area here I think could do from that, and that's right there. 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 Okay. And that's it. Don't touch it again. The key here is stop while you're ahead. And I mean that so sincerely. The worst thing that you can do is overload it, because you work so hard. Let's take a close look. I think that looks pretty fantastic, don't you? And we're gonna try and be extra fancy by messing with wire. And this is where we get to mess the whole thing up. But first we're gonna actually, that's like that's a post video base. So I'm gonna do that off stream, and I'm gonna show, I'm gonna record it still, but I'm going to post that as a separate video after this. We're gonna finish this, base him, and I'm gonna show you what it looks like. Totally done right before we try to add the lightning bolt. So we just got the underside to do. Let's finish him up, and we'll call it on this guy. I think we did freaking sweet. I hope you guys had fun with this. I sure did. This was a whole lot of experimentation, including everything that I'm doing right now. I've never done a weapon like this. This is my first time trying it, and I hope that you agree with me that I think it turned out pretty swell. But we'll see when I post the final photos. I'll post the photos of it with the without the lightning, and then I'll add the lightning. There we go. The bottom, I'm just being much more loose. There we go. There's the bottom. Because remember, you're mostly going to be looking at it like this. So when you look at it like this, you can see that little hint of the bottom there. But really, what you're going to see is this when you turn it. So that's going to be the big shebang. Because what's going to happen is you're going to be like, wow, that looks great. That looks great. That looks great. I can't believe. I wonder what's going to happen. I can't believe what's going to happen next. Oh my God. Look at that blade and look at everything else. This is crazy. What an achievement. And we get to hit back here and you're like, I want to see it. I want to see it loop again. This is where we get the engagement, folks. the post 10-second mark. And we're gonna like, oh, can I see it? Oh, and there it is again. Bam, in your face. Nice and bright. Real bombastic. Look at all the things we can look at. What a model. There we go. Grimdark, Shadowkeeper, Custodes. Let's do one more little edge here. And then we're going to do a super final dot of white at the tip here. Just to give it that little sheen of importance. Go. Okay. And this is what I mean. Just the slightest little is the tip, the pointiest and hottest part. Just a little, I think you can barely even see it actually. It's too light. It's not noticeable enough. Watch me ruin it at the very end with my hubris. Flew too close to the sun. No, we did it. We did it. Boom. All right, folks. I truly appreciate you. This was fun from beginning to end. This is our Shadowkeeper Custodes. With a purple blade, in a grimdark style. One last little turn. See if we can get it as close as we can. Don't worry, I'll post the full thing later. Wasn't talking to you, Siri. Hope I'm not the only one who finds that a little creepy. Man, I can't get his book. There we go. Once around the bend. Boom. Lovely. There it is. Thanks, folks. Appreciate you coming on this journey with me. We're going to do a different model next stream. We're going to try non-metallic metal gold all around. That's going to be another first for me. It's not going to be a Custodes. Thanks so much.